Every Friday, small-scale uprisings break out in the West Bank. Teenage Palestinians sling rocks at Israeli soldiers. The army fires tear gas grenades and rubber bullets. It started as an isolated act of civil disobedience, protesting an Israeli security barrier. Now it's a weekly grassroots movement across 5 Palestinian towns. With the peace process stalled and little hope of a solution, the protests are a desperate effort to end Israel's military occupation and to rebrand the Palestinian image as peaceful demonstrators and not suicide bombers. Bassem Tamimi, a Palestinian whose family has been living in the tiny village of Nabi Saleh for generations, is organizing the protests for the 6th straight week.
We shout to the world to see what the settler and the settlement and the occupation do for the Palestinian. It's our voice.
He is enraged that for the past 6 months, Palestinians have been prevented from accessing their farmland by settlers under the protection of the Israeli army. On this Friday morning, the Israeli soldiers have taken a position right behind Mr. Tamimi's home, which has become an unofficial headquarters for international activists who support their cause. On Friday, January 22nd, Israeli soldiers arrested Mr. Tamimi's wife, Nariman. She was released in a day and warned never to attend another protest, but she vowed to defy these orders. Just before the next demonstration, Nariman prepares food for some unlikely allies.
I see myself as joining their struggle, and I think we're all helping each other in building a different future here.
Israeli Jonathan Pollack, a part-time graphic designer from Tel Aviv, attends the protests nearly every Friday. Pollack has been arrested numerous times and claims to have suffered brain hemorrhages from tear gas cartridges. He's recently become an official spokesman for the Palestinians.
I don't believe that the world is divided that way to their people and my people. I'm here because I oppose the occupation, because I oppose what's happening here. And the people who fight the occupation are my people.
While the skirmishes have ideological roots, sometimes they feel more like a spectacle. This young man is hit by a rubber bullet in the kidney area. He appears to go unconscious, but would recover completely. The protests begin with theatrical precision. Each Friday afternoon prayers, both sides take their positions in front of the press, which have a front row seat of the action. The media landscape is as much a battlefield as the borders are. But on some Fridays, the show takes a serious turn. This footage is from a pro-Palestinian Israeli activist, filmed in the Palestinian village of Bil'in, the first place to adopt these weekly protests. 25-year-old Bil'in resident Bassem Abu Rahma, seen here wearing a fluorescent yellow shirt, was a regular protester. On April 17, 2009, Mr. Abu Rahma was standing on the Palestinian side when he was suddenly shot in the chest with a high-velocity, rubber-coated aluminum tear gas canister. He died before reaching the hospital. According to Palestinian sources, 19 demonstrators have been killed since 2004. While no Israeli soldiers have been killed, according to the Israeli army, hundreds of servicemen have been wounded. Captain Barak Raz would not discuss Abu Rahma's death.
These are not peaceful protests. It's not people singing "We shall overcome." These are very violent, very dangerous, and very illegal methods. When the situation escalates, we have no choice but to use other riot dispersal means.
The soldier shooting bombs, rubber bullets, and it's a small thing, the rocks, throwing stones.
It is unclear whether the Palestinians are gaining support or changing their image through these protests. What is clear is that the Israeli army takes them very seriously. Back in Nabi Saleh, demonstrations have been increasingly violent. and more protest leaders are being arrested. Mr. Tamimi's wife, Nariman, is arrested for the second Friday in a row, along with 5 other Palestinians. Israeli Jonathan Pollack is also arrested, but he's released an hour later. On the way home, he writes a press release detailing his version of the day's events. In late January, Nariman Tamimi is still incarcerated. With the army no longer behind his house, Mr. Tamimi goes for a stroll to explain to his young boys about their mother's detention. For the New York Times, this is Jaron Galinsky in Nabi Saleh, West Bank.